And this design goes back to the 1500s-16th century. Which cultures are you referencing? British. This is Tudor period. It's very obvious that that's portcullis on there from tackling a problem that could prove to hinder all their treasure hunting plans to discovering structures, relics and artifacts that could lead to the discovery of the mysterious treasure that is rumored to be hidden on Oak Island. Here's how Rick Lagina just evacuated Oak Island after discovering something scary in the money pit. Once again we head over to the mysterious treasure hunting spot known as Oak Island. For more than 2 centuries now the world has watched as hundreds if not thousands of these treasure hunting hopefuls took on this mysterious challenge. As such, it should come across as no surprise to those who just happen to stumble onto the fascinating place when they notice that some people are either searching through what they believe to be the legendary money pit or any other interesting looking spot on the island. With that in mind, we are all left to wonder what the Lagina brothers and their treasure hunting crew would uncover as their search for the legendary treasure of Oak Island continues. Will they actually be able to discover this fabled treasure, or would they find something that may even be more precious than what is believed to be on this strange island? Aladdin's cave in the water problem. Well, the Lagina brothers and their team were on the verge of making some groundbreaking discoveries at one of the most interesting parts of the island known as Aladdin's cave. You'll see some really good shots. Wow, look at its part of cavity. This represented something of a problem-solving data for the team, because when they set off on this mission they were in the middle of solving a flooding problem in the so-called money pit area. When we say the flooding problem, we mean that they had to deal with water that was seeping through the walls of their tunnels. In order to solve such a problem, the team figured that they needed to know where this water was coming from in the first place. This may seem like an easy problem to figure out, but the unrelated heavy rainfall that was taking place in Nova Scotia at the time proved to be a bit of a hindrance when the team tried to tackle this problem. Fortunately, they were at least able to figure out that there was definitely a catalyst that was causing what seemed to be this endless water flow into the garden shaft all the way down at a depth of about 66 feet. Looking into the depth of this tunnel, the team realized that the water in the tunnel was only about 10 feet high at the end of the day and not the expected 30 feet. This made them question whether or not this was a flood, whether or not it was a flood, or whether they could trace it. Didn't matter at that point in time. What really mattered was that this gnawing water was stopping them from carrying on with their search for the treasure that was rumored to be hidden on the mysterious island. Already this water problem was proving itself to be such a huge problem that it had prevented them from extending the depth of the garden shaft from 87 feet to 100 feet. This was because they were hoping to breach through a 7 feet high tunnel that seems to be heading westward towards the baby blob. I mean, we're going to run the camera down first. Why not put eyes on that void and see if we see anything? Because we happen to see a feature down there that we can orient off of with the camera. It will be helpful to the 3D mapping. Sarah, getting to this point was their goal, because they had picked up some hints that there were traces of gold, silver and other metals somewhere around 80 to 120 feet underground. It must have been annoying to the team that they had to deal with such an annoying problem. As recently as just a year ago, the area didn't have to deal with such a flooding problem, as there had barely been any water that got into that shaft. Well, they had no other choice but to carry on with their investigations, especially as they were starting to believe that they were drawing really close to air treasure. The solutions. With that in mind, they knew that they had to bring this annoying issue to an end. To do this, they decided to consult with the representatives from Duma Contracting Limited. These representatives weren't too worried about the task at hand, because they had drilled some holes to fill the mysterious voids outside the shaft. In order to tackle their present problem, they decided to fill the voids with polyurethane. Thanks to this industrial grade compound that expands as it gets dry, they may be able to seal up the open spaces that are allowing the water to seep into the tunnel, no matter how small they are. If this is possible, maybe the team will be able to achieve their goal of extending the garden a few feet so that it could reach the top of the mysterious tunnel down below. As great as the idea may sound, executing it proved to be easier said than done. Apparently the shaft seems to have to deal with about 700 gallons of water every hour. This had proved to be a difficult enough problem that the team would have to sort it out if they were ever going to make any progress with these tunnels. Well, the team refused to be deterred by the difficulties they were facing because they knew that if everything was dry and solid they would be able to resume their digging. I'll say this, Roger, you're very close to that tunnel that we hope is just a few feet below here. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I'd say, as you can imagine, such a prospect was a very attractive one to the Lagina brothers and the rest of the Curse of Oak Island team. As such, they all paid attention as the representatives of the Duma Contracting Limited got to work in the garden shaft. As this was going on, the audience saw that Peter, another treasure hunter working with the Curse of Oak Island team, came across this strange circular structure near the shoreline in Lot 5. Fascinating to all who came across it, the team saw that the interesting structure had suddenly become a central focus for the team as they powered on with their search for the mysterious treasure that is rumored to be hidden somewhere on Oak Island. That said, the team began to worry about the conditions of the structure due to the fact that there had recently been a storm in the area. Surely this must have compromised the conditions of this strange structure. Eager to push on with their work though, the team performed a quick analysis on what they saw. Looking at the state of the situation, Peter was of the belief that they could still carry on with their work, though with that in mind the team pushed on with such investigations by lifting the cover that protected the circular structure. This would prove to be a great moment for the team because even though this circular structure was about a mile away from the money pit area, it seemed to give the Curse of Oak Island team a few clues that could prove to be reliable enough to solve some of the most fascinating mysteries that could be found on the mysterious island. Discovery of strange structure. One of the things that caught their attention as they were re-uncovering one of the large ancient structures in the area was this handle-like item. This was a bit interesting for the team, especially as they had been working with the idea that the structure was connected to Sir William Phipps. Well, we all know the William Phipps story. It's the Concepian theory when Phipps is known to have traveled in these waters, so the idea is that his treasure was brought here to Oak Island, right? Many of us may not know this individual, but the pages of history have proven that he was a 17th century English politician and privateer. What makes Phipps interesting in the context of the search for the treasure that is rumored to be hidden on Oak Island is that it is rumored that Phipps had buried a valuable treasure within the money pit all the way back in 1687. As if this discovery of this handle-like object was not exciting enough, the team found that they struggled to contain themselves when they also found a lead barter token. This discovery occurred somewhere close to the outer edge of the area. Looking at the object, the team figured that there was a chance that it could be linked to a 14th century lead cross that had been discovered at Smith's Cove in 2017. Interestingly enough, it appeared as though the puzzle pieces fit together to hint at a weird but still interconnected history that many may have never even heard of before. Be that as it may, the team of archaeologists were able to endure the power of the storm so that they could carry on with their detailed investigations. This process involved the use of a magnetometry, and it proved to be an inspired decision. This is because it led to the discovery of structures that could even be older than the ones that had been discovered recently. Looking for more answers, the team used this as an inspiration to carry out even more investigations that could lead to the unveiling of some of the island's strangest secrets. Driven by excitement and expectation, the archaeologist on ground came to believe that the circular feature that they had been analyzing for some time now could prove to be a crucial element when the team eventually solved some of the hidden mysteries of the island. Eager to solve some of these mysteries, the team prepared to set off on a new exploration expedition by hopping on a boat that was waiting for them just about a mile away from Lot 5. There's some indication that the cave has some things that aren't natural cave-like. It could be some sort of treasure chamber. That's why we're spending all this money and time investigating it. It checks a lot of the boxes. Eager to see what is going on for himself, Marty was even on board with this expedition, eager to see what they could find in the money pit area. Among other places, the team pushed on through Aladdin's cave. Considering this novel approach to their search for the treasure, one could see how excited the team was. Perhaps it was due to the fact that they were making use of a sonar scan so that they could learn more about this mysterious place. At the very least, this sonar scan would help them get a better understanding of the structure of the cavern. This must have been very exciting for the team when you consider the fact that the team took an interest in this cave about a year ago. This interest was sparked by a drilling operation that showed them that there was a large space underneath them. Imagine what could be down there. Eventually the data recorded on the western side of the cavern told the team that there may be a tunnel entrance. This information was supported by even more data which suggested that there were traces of wood and precious metals somewhere down there as well. We don't need to tell you much about how the team felt about this information. All we need to tell you is that the prospect of coming across precious metals such as silver and gold was enough to boost the morale of the Lagina brothers and their team once more. To learn more about what was going on down there, the team decided that they were going to insert a camera down a new borehole that was drilled into their center of the cavern. This occurred about a week ago, and during that time period the team was excited about the fact that this led to the discovery of even more structures that may have been made by humans. As this was going on, the sonar scan was also helping the team create a clear 3D map of Aladdin's cave. This would help the team confirm that there were really man-made structures down there. I just think that there's something uniquely strange about this well, and I hope, no pun intended, that we get to the bottom of it. If there were truly some man-made structures down there that could suggest that there could be some valuable items down there, who knows, maybe even the mysterious treasure of Oak Island. With all these things happening, Marty tried to let the team keep their minds open about the chance of finding multiple spots where treasure was hidden on the island. This is an exciting prospect to consider, especially when one may have thought that we were searching for one treasure spot this entire time. If they could just find some of these man-made spaces or even items such as chests, they may be able to complete the mission that so many people failed at after all these years. With such thoughts in mind, the team was quite excited when they announced that they were plunging into one of these tunnels. Finally they would be able to get to the bottom of what was going on down there. At the forefront of this expedition down this shaft, Marty did his best to guide the scan in a desperate bid to spot the entrance to this tunnel or any sign of an opening that would suggest that they would have a chance to look into the strange spaces in the area. Soon they came across some straight lines that further convinced them that the formations that they found there weren't natural ones. They were definitely made by humans at some point in time. Anticipating some sort of progress, the team continued with their scan so that they could continue producing images that could lead them closer to their goals. Soon all this effort paid off with some more encouraging signs. One of such signs was a distinct edge that seemed to create a buzz around the camp. Already it has given rise to a ton of questions. For starters, they couldn't help but wonder if they were actually right about the fact that there was a significant man-made structure somewhere inside Aladdin's cave. Well, although they had no answers, the team was sure that such answers must be hiding somewhere within the strange landscape of this mysterious island. Aladdin's cave really is the most significant underground cavity that we found in the money, and that's why we need to explore it as much as we can. The man-made workings found within Aladdin's cave. Soon the team found that they were right back in the money pit area. This was after they had gotten enough sonar data of Aladdin's cave. Following the scan of the area, they were convinced now more than ever that there must be some man-made structure within the depths of this strange cavern. As encouraging as some of these signs may have seemed, some doubters began to emerge within the ranks. For starters, Steve came to the conclusion that the straight lines in the caves did not look natural at all. Turns out that he wasn't the only one who believed this, because Paul actually agreed with him, not willing to argue too much about it. They both hoped that the 3D model that they were trying to produce would help them see these lines better. In all honesty, there were many of them who were just hoping for some clarity. At the very least, this information would help them get to the steps of 16 feet into the money pit area. Eager for some more information, the team continued to analyze what was in front of them. During set analysis, Rick just happened to notice something that caught his attention. This is when he asked Paul to rotate their solar diagram. This proved to reveal two potential slopes in the cave. One of these slopes looked like it was made out of sand, while the other one appeared as though it might be hiding something under the floor. Fascinating. Looking for some more information, From the sonar diagram Mart Y also asked to look at it. This is when he also noticed that there was this pretty square wall that was standing on one side of the cave. Spotting this, he came to the conclusion that there was definitely a man-made structure within the cave, and this was where some treasure was deposited. You couldn't convince him otherwise, especially when the data in front of him told him that they were looking at the western side of the cave. This just also happened to be the largest part of the cave, at least based on the data that they had in front of them. I mean, if anything, we've proven it's a wide open cavity. This is a good opportunity for us to really map it with the sonar. I agree. As exciting as all this information was for them, they still struggled to find the origin or the opening of the cave. As a result, people like Marty were desperate to find a way into the cave. Hoping to bring this desperation to an end, the experts on the team informed him that if they actually followed the slopes, there's a chance that they would find a continuation somewhere along the lines. If that happened, there is a good chance that they would find a way into the cave. If that occurred, the team came to an agreement that they would then drill a hole into it. Despite all these encouraging discussions, Rick was still desperate for a way into the cave. After all, there was a good chance that this would lead them to the treasure that they were looking for all this time. That said, nothing is certain when it comes to the search for this treasure on Oak Island. The experts remained optimistic though, especially after they noticed that something of an echo coming out of somewhere within the cave. This suggested that there must be an opening somewhere. How else would the echo escape? Eager to follow this lead, the team decided that they would drill in the direction of the echo. This would allow them to lead a camera into the hole. That way they could get all the information they needed to know what direction to follow. Eager to make the most of this opportunity, Rick was on hand to remind the team that they needed to perform a detailed and proper assessment of whatever data they get out of this exercise. They decided to put another drill down the hole. This will allow them to put it in on a more detailed scan. Once this exercise was completed, the team called it a day. Excited about the progress they had made so far, the team was up bright and early so that they could get right back to work. This involved them pushing on with their search for an answer by drilling a new borehole named L3.5. This borehole was drilled so that the team could gather even more information from Aladdin's cave once they break open into the cave. And then we're going to put a camera down right. Helpfully we can see maybe a tunnel or some kind of an entrance or egress into this cave. While this was going on, the representatives of Duma were still hard at work so that they could stop that water from seeping into the garden shaft. While this was going on, Craig Tester, Peter Fornetti, Jack Bigley, and Emma Culligan, the archer metallurgist, were taking steps to meet with Carmen Legg, the resident blacksmithing expert. They wanted to get some more information on some fascinating artifacts that were picked up on Lot 5. Perhaps the most interesting of these artifacts were the metal strap and the heavy fastener that was discovered in the circular depression. Once he spotted the artifacts, Carmen proposed that they could be part of a chest or trunk that was put together back in the 17th century. Upon hearing this information, the team was immediately excited, especially as this reignited the links to the previously mentioned Sir William Phipps and the Spanish treasure that some believed he buried on Oak Island back in 1687. Eager to know something about the artifacts, initially Emma had already carried out a detailed scan on them with her specialized scanning devices. This proved to reveal the intricate details that had been hidden by centuries of rust and decay. Thanks to the scan, they were also able to notice this clasp T hat could belong to a small chest. This again suggested that these items must have originated from the 17th century. Add the discovery of this nail that was also dated back some centuries, and you'd find that the team must have felt that they were drawing ever closer to the treasure that is rumored to be hidden on the strange island. Sure, they may have spent a bit more than a decade looking for this treasure, but remember that we've already waited for this treasure to be discovered for a period of more than 20,000 years. Hopefully the Lagina brothers and their crew would find the clues they need to find in Aladdin's cave so that they could discover the mysterious treasure of Oak Island from tackling a problem that could prove to hinder all their treasure hunting plans, to discovering structures, relics and artifacts that could lead to the discovery of the mysterious treasure that is rumored to be hidden on Oak Island. Here's how Rick Lagina just evacuated Oak Island after discovering something scary in the money pit.